So I would like to introduce the first speaker. The first speaker is, he goes by the name of Andy, but I think this is how you pronounce your name. Please do not kill me. Anirban, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Anirban Bhattacharyya?
You got
Did I
it.
say that? Oh, really? Okay, he is a thought leader, board member, and founding member of Amplo Global Incorporated. I've had the pleasure of speaking to him before this event, and he is a wonderful person to know. And I highly advise that you visit his vendor booth after the talks, and also that you ask questions today because he's very knowledgeable about the field. Okay. All right. So without further delay, let me give you the floor here, and you can share your screen.
Sure. So good morning, everyone. I was reading a journal a few days back where most of the countries are betting on next 10 years of funds investment, and one is consistent across the world, that is AI. Now, AI is the outcome or the last part or the mature part of data. So if you really see a data journey, you have data analytics for a while now. It's something that I would say data reporting, metadata, cubing, it's all there. It's there for a while. IBM has done a brilliant job in like really taking its name to fame there in that particular zone. And it's, of course, on others too, but especially in analytics. Where the needle is moving right now is how can you take a journey towards predictive, prescriptive, and cognitive. So that's where we are. So we have data analytics, we have data reporting, engineering, analytics, the data piece. Then the next part is the predictive, prescriptive part of the data. And then you really get into an AI mode, which is enabled by machine learning. So my career has mainly grown in management consulting and strategy consulting until in 2018 middle. I was still with IBM at that time, and I decided to to do something different before I leave the universe. And that midlife, I say, positive crisis made us invent a product which would take all the data from an organization. We will buy data from outside, and we will allow a platform led empathy mapping on the platform. We have 3 inputs of data, and we will simulate and will give an output to something. And the something is when somebody is betting on next 3 years of investment, and this somebody is generally CXOs, these 3 years of investment, they can simulate before they can make a decision. And we are the first mover in the ecosystem with this kind of a tool, where we challenged the consultative mind, where you can actually do data-driven decision making in strategy space. Because strategy is generally intuitive. It's generally leadership driven. Because it's very ambiguous. You don't know what you don't know. Then how can you make it data driven? How can you make it intuitive, non-intuitive? So we took that challenge, and now we have around, I would say 6+2 implementations is still going on, around 8 customers, small group of around 25 people, 30 people around New Jersey, presence in New Jersey, Bay Area in the US, and mainly in India. And we have 2 sales positions, sales office in Netherlands and Singapore. We are partnering with an organization in Israel to do some of this innovative strategy AI-led strategy programs. So we are growing, challenges every day. That's actually a fun challenge, unless, of course, we all have to manage the stress together, but it's fun challenge. That's how our incubation happened. And we are generally most of them are ex-IBMers. And we came out and built this platform. So the space we play is not transactional, like order management or logistics or inventory analysis. No, we don't do, we do. Ultimately, we do that, but we play at the tip of the spear for a CXO to see that, okay, should I invest on an AI-led supply chain program or not? If I do that, what should be my ROI, return on investment, and very much on the tip of the spear, as I call it. So that's kind of my introduction. I have around, and with the organization Amplo Global, I have around 18 plus of years of experience now. 2 years of in between. I went to MBA school in Duke University, in Fuqua School of Business. Came out of consulting for a year. I was in Wall Street for 1 year. Then I again came back to consulting in IBM, and then I left, and then I started my life 2.0 journey, as I call it. So, so as I mentioned, it's an AI led. I'm not using the word AI loosely. It's really machine learning led. It's a platform, and we ideally have launched the product last year. We got affected by COVID a bit. We thought we would not be, because we thought it's a digital platform and all the CXOs would be able to bring this on to be more resilient and do some more strategy simulations. But no, not all the CXOs made that bold decision with us. So I think we're doing much better as a pipeline and programs this year, as we are finishing off calendar Q1 pretty well. And there are some analyst firms which are talking to us. One of them is HFS. You can definitely look up to them. If you do Amplo Global HFS, press enter in Google, you will see the report. That's a link you see right now. And we have good revenue coming in from March 2020. So we are hiring summer interns. And I will talk about the career path as well. And you can stop me anytime. You can make it interactive. And we are here to disrupt the strategy consulting space, at the same time work with the strategy consulting firm who could leverage our platform to do a faster and cheaper way of digital strategy. And of course, we have firms which are end customers like Delphi or Tiffany or Cliff Bar or Harley Davidson, who directly use our platform. And then we have a sell with partnership with the consulting firms as well. Initially, we got a pushback from the consulting firms, but I think last year, they really have seen the advantage of the platform to really have that in the goodie bag for doing strategy consulting. So a quick, very upfront, little bit of bloody slide, as I call it, a root slide, where we give the pricing conversation. But you should get a feel that which space we are playing and how we are becoming faster and cheaper. Hopefully better also. I cannot say better because the brands are brands. We are not a brand right now. I have worked with I've worked with one of these companies in past, the first one. So yeah, that's where the quick comparison of cost and some of the attributes on the right side, if you can read through. So it's ideally a platform that outperforms human comprehension. So that's what the goal is. We are improving almost every day as our platform learns more. So one of our quick update that we have partnered with AWS, Amazon Web Services. They use our platform for their internal functional and financial goal simulation. So this is the best news we could have in our Amplo Global career. So we basically have so AWS has a prospect. They want to sell cloud solution to them. when they go to the prospect, they love to be so much ready that they can beat any other cloud competition platforms. And to be ready to go to their end customer, they would simulate some of these modeling capability simulations and Monte Carlo simulations on our platform. So, and they would say, okay, if there is, let's pick an example, which we're working on. Let's say Stanley Black and Decker wants to move their entire product lifecycle management to cloud. And then what would happen with this is they would take this and convince Stanley Black and Decker that, hey, here is your benchmark, here is your competition is working on, and here is what you can do after you move to cloud. And by the way, we have something in the goodie bag. It's called Amplify 4.0, which is our platform's name, by the way. And here is the report card that you should move to cloud. And they upsell their solution. That's the applicability of us partnering or white labeling under AWS. It's a value prop slide. I'm going to skip this. It's kind of a little bit of a value proposition slide where we buy the domain data and they bring the scenarios in, and they'll be more ready to upsell their solution for larger transformation plan. So our target market is consulting. So as I shared, some of the 3 big areas we focus on is supply chain, sustainability, design thinking, but also I will give you a quick flavor on a little bit in the next slide where we focus on, but also our product is also being leveraged by the PE firms who would buy and sell companies, and they can do some simulation on a platform, and you would be able to do that simulation on a platform. So if you really see the enterprise customers, so we focus on industrial, health sciences is a big focus, being in New Jersey, energy, distribution, fintech and nonprofit. We're a little opportunistic, but we have some leads coming in. But we also focus on 5 big business offerings. The 3 ones I mentioned, top 3 is we have a good pipeline there: supply chain, design thinking, sustainability. And IT strategy and data strategy is something we also focus on to enable an organization to embrace much more data-led strategies. So we are particularly playing in the strategy space, but to enable these 5 business offerings, we do it by data. We tell them that this is what your competition is doing, and you should do a AI-led supply chain. So we help them to build the business case. So now once the business case is built, maybe IBM or Accenture or Deloitte will come in and do the implementation. But if you give me 1 hour of your time in your life, 59 minutes, we will define the problem well. That's what we do. We define the problem. We show the problem. We show the heat map to a customer base. And I can go to the platform if needed. I have it open if at all needed. So basically what the message here is that being the tip of the spear, doing a simulation, and really make a leader committed to a large or to medium to small programs is something we are requesting a leadership to embrace much more non-intuitive promises. So there's a blog that I have written, it's in LinkedIn. It's called AI-led Management Engineers, coined by Amplo Global. It's called Management Engineers. I'm not calling management consultants, because the goal is to augment the management consultants with these kinds of platforms so that they can actually focus on the exception with the client. And the tool should help them to do much more the data-driven job. Similarly, for an end customer, we are ideally managing all their portfolios and innovations with some dollars associated to this, so that when they come back into our platform and look into, okay, in 2025, I actually did not approve this innovation project. And why is that? Let me take a look. So that's where we are playing. We're managing the innovations and the upstream decision-making as well. So what we have done is we have taken the concept of downstream analytics. I mean, downstream analytics means, let's say, you want to predict a machine that it will fail, asset management. You want to really see that some visibility around counterfeit analysis of a drug. These are all very good analytics programs or visibility programs that all the organizations are embracing. Let's say supplier risk analysis. We have taken that downstream concept and brought it upstream and said, okay, I'm going to benchmark. I'm going to do a heat map. I'm doing a performance measure, because you can measure performance, actual versus planned. And we also will create a adaptation and adoption methodology in the organization, which is design thinking. And we'll also do road mapping. Anytime you can come to the platform and do road mapping, and you can always measure before and after the actual implementation. So the avatars coming out, you can actually come back and measure against your planned. So, and also it's important that it's non-linear. What does it mean? It means that I can start a design thinking if I want to, when I don't know the problem. What is the problem? And can come back and do benchmarking later on when I know the problem. Again, 1 hour of your life, 59 minutes, we are just defining the problem well with these 5 modules. And we are going to the CXOs and the senior directors, VPs and directors, and saying, you should be more ready for tomorrow. And that should be data-led. If it needs to be data-led, you have to empathize on the platform. We will take your downstream SAP or other data, and we will bring data from outside. We will buy data from JD Powers, IRI, Nielsen, IQVIA, others. And yeah, we'll give you a 3-pronged outcome. So our product stack is, you have a data entry platform where you enter the data, and you can upload the data as well, because we have a data lake beside the platform. So we have a house, which is the platform, and we have a lake beside the house. So you have a read and write capability on the lake. We are both in Microsoft and AWS platform, by the way. And what we would do is, with that, they will write at any time. It can load data from downstream. We buy data from outside. We empathize on the platform, and we create patterns. And we say, okay, if you want to outsource your entire bike manufacturing in 2021, you better have a strategy with Bosch. And the bike manufacturer says to me and us that, what do you mean by have a better strategy with Bosch? What do you mean by that? Okay, based on the heat map, I see that you do not have any sensor strategy for your smart bike. Oh, okay, so I need to go and work with maybe IBM and Bosch to create that sensor program to put in the bike. Yes, please do that. You should measure with this KPIs. After 6 months, you come back, you measure back how you're doing. So that's what we do with these 5 modules. We define the problem well, we enlighten the problem well, we highlight the problem well, and then it's more consensus happens. Because one of the biggest problem I think we have in not only in work and life is, do I know my problem? And how hardly we spend time to bust the buck, right? So I would love to take questions, but let me give you so while I would love you to spend some time on our website too. We will bring some summer interns from June 15th. And also we do a lot of career guidance. I'm involved with Rutgers Business School. So I actually support Jerry Kim, if anyone knows Jerry. I support him in the strategy and innovation course. I'm adjunct out there. I also do a lot of mentorship in Duke, career coaching in NYU as well. So I would love to help if you want to take a career path, where we should go, how the career should shape up outside Amplo Global. I would love to have you in Amplo Global, but outside Amplo Global too. So we have 6 career paths in Amplo Global. So one is we have pure business and operation strategy delivery. Right? You will be delivering, and we call it a generalist. The second career path is where the programs come in. We take the product in our goodie bag with the consultant, we call it engineer. We go and deliver the program, implement the product, we leave, and then empower the customer to use the product. Product-led strategy. The next one is an internal product development. It's a pure product management career path. Security and IT and business design and service design, UX, UI, a lot of those career paths. The third one is specially AI ML data, which actually intertwines with the first two, because somebody who gets the AI ML data skill set, we need help at the client side, because client always asks us to customize sometimes at the end. So we have the platform, we have the outcome, machine learning outcomes, and then we have the dashboard, the visualization, 3-layered. And that skill set on the third pillar is always used on the first one. The third pillar skill set is also in the second one, because the product has AI features. So that's where we call data office. The fourth one is your digital marketing, which is ideally your complete social presence we have. From content writing on our website to campaign management, to social counts, how many people are liking our sites, blogs, this and that, brand management, pure marketing. And that also needs analytics, by the way, okay? Consumer behavior analytics. The fifth one is your sales tracking. So if you remember, AWS salespeople actually use our platform. And this is something that also needs analytics nowadays, to do sales analytics and see that what's your sentiment analysis of a customer, that they will buy your product or not. And the last one is pure operations, which is back office. Why don't we open up some interactive questions here and see that if at all I made some sense or not, the space we play.
Does anyone have any questions?
I actually have a question.
Go ahead.
Well, I have a number of them, but I know I don't want to waste or take up too much time. So I was wondering if you provided info sessions or able to have a one-on-one, so I'm able to get some more information.
Absolutely, absolutely. If I may ask, what's your background?
Well, I'm currently in college learning business and a degree in finance, I'm sorry, and a minor in statistics.
Okay.
And I just took an interest in data analytics, and I did some data mining for a company, and I thought it was a great experience. So I would just like to learn more, but I have little to no experience, if I'm being completely honest. So I keep doing career coaching.
We are starting our internship on June 15th. So I can type my email address here, and feel free to, yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So absolutely.
I just want to remind everyone that on the site, there's the speaker profiles, which you could download, and it has all of their contact information on it. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. You know what? As I'm doing these sessions in the last couple of years, I also learn about what I'm not doing good. Why don't you give me some feedback that, did I make any sense what we do? I'm just curious.
As someone who does not have a huge background in data analytics, I understand or at least I think I understand what space you're in.
Okay. 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 So I will share a quick, I call it a snobbish triangle. Let me see if I can bring up the snobbish triangle, which was not in my agenda. But this is something that we are playing in. So the space we are creating is to the CXOs, being the tip of the spear, to do strategy simulation. Uh, they, we integrate with some of the process mining tools, some of the budgeting tools, some of the ERP tools. But at the end of the day, we are helping the CXOs to um, operationalize the strategy, and that to know if the strategy is right and measure the strategy. And always it happens that we sometimes partner with the consulting firms and sometimes partner with the technology firms. So it always happens in that way, that sell with a technology firm or a consulting firm, or we directly go to a CXO. So like I'll pick on Cliff Bar. It's a bar company. They make energy bars, right? So we're directly working with them. But there are some challenge like FCA, Fiat Chrysler. We have gone with IBM. So, but we can't say Fiat Chrysler is our client, right? We can't say that. So yeah, I just want to give you a quick flavor of the space we are playing. So it's a very new space, very honestly. Uh, Productization and democratization of strategy with analytics is very new. It's very new. So that's where we are struggling a bit to also take off the way we expected. Not every CXO wants to bring us in when they have McKinsey in the world. So just be very honest feeling from us living and breathing every day to create the new normal. But yes, it's a concept that has been approved. We have 6 IPs as an organization. The IP has been approved by USPTO. So the internal platform has IPs. So just want to mention that. In fact, since we have some time, quickly give you a flavor, right? How we run analytics. So when we do capability modeling, I will give you a quick flavor where our analytics comes into play, and hopefully there is some data here. Let's say if you can take the manufacturing supply chain one. So when we always create a heat map. A heat map is something that you would be able to know how what's heat map is. Before I get into the heat map, so when a CXO can see the entire supply chain and manufacturing process here, not everything is finished. It's not so beautifully colored. So when you say view pain point initiatives and all the data are being pulled, you will see that there are some root cause analysis and recommended solutions and KPIs we are giving and giving a direction to a leader. This is completely machine learning. We are using convoluted neural networks inside the product. So we take the entire empathy map, we take the data from the downstream, we buy data and we give them an output and say that, you know what, if this is something you want to do, here is your root cause. You should fix the cause before you fix the symptoms. And ideally, from any kind of, we call component business modeling, you'll get to hear a lot in strategy space, component business modeling or FPMs, functions, spaces, and matrix. So let's say you have one of the work we did for, let's say Chevron. So if you really see any of these programs, when we say sourcing strategy, somebody wants to do a sourcing strategy on our platform, and you can score. Of course, you can score at any level if you want to each of these processes. You get an immediate heat map from our platform. So let's see. Second, just to give an idea that what we do in a very quick map. So you'll get a heat map, and there is a color legend interpretation. There's a report that we run on the reports. It's we call heat map analysis. Now you can do a heat map at the process level, and you can do a heat map at the global level. Means I can be an owner of sourcing strategy, but I can also, the CXO, I actually can do a complete heat map at this level, which are red, yellow, green. And I would know that how, so this is, we are using causal analytics. So a product, so if I go back to the career path discussion here, I'm talking about somebody on AI ML who is helping the product development here. And this is the outcome. So we have two career paths on AI and analytics and data. One, somebody will build for the product, and the same person can also go to an end client and deliver with the product. So just want to make sure that I give you a quick flavor of what the product does ideally. And there are, of course, there are 5 modules that are, I'm just scratching the surface here. So we do benchmarking, which is completely NLP run. Modeling, we do completely causals and CNNs and Monte Carlos. And then we do performance measuring as also a tool where we do initiative management. So every time you're betting on a program, you can actually manage it on our platform. What's the actual, what's the real versus forecasted. So you can do various kinds of placards. You can do budget monitoring. You can do store performance, health and safety. So just wanted to give you a flavor of what our platform does. So yeah, I just wanted to, yeah, feel free to reach out to me, and we can have more sessions with Amy and the team, and looking forward to it. That's all, Amy, I have today.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, because I remember one conversation we had, you know, exchanging monies for supply is a big business where things could go wrong. And you're kind of like a, what is it? Would you call yourself an overseer or I guess an entity that kind of makes sure it goes seamlessly and looks for problems, or
You got it.
what would you say? That's what it would be?
The last one was damn accurate. We look for problems.
I see. Okay. Look for problems.
Yeah, I think that's it. You nailed it, right? That our
that's great.
Comes in and tries to look for problems, the causals, not the symptoms. So, and that's driven by analytics. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just leave it there.
Okay. Are there any questions? More questions for the speaker?
Hi, it's Marilyn. So I don't work in an organization that's the traditional manufacturing. It's ETS. We do basically standardized test production. We get responses in, sometimes paper, sometimes electronic, and they move through a process. And we have an office of quality that really causes more struggle than they solve. And I think what they believe they're trying to get to is what you just showed, but they do it in an old school way, spreadsheets, lots and lots of meetings. They think it's data, it's not really. And now they want to shift to AI-enabled operations. But do you think people are missing some when they try to jump from almost just write stuff down on paper, and I'll call spreadsheets paper the way they use it, to suddenly wanting to jump way into the future? Do you see sometimes, and our work isn't as, I don't know, structured as a true, and it is structured. I think the accountability is great with a pharmaceutical, the test scoring, and I could see what we do sometimes is we have an IT project that's not on track, so they just move the dates, and so they just keep moving dates until maybe it fizzles out, or maybe a little while later they get it done. Do you see, and I'm trying to think of my question, who's in control of what the goal should be? Do people come in and say, you know what, let's move it because we're not hitting the mark? Or is do the senior leadership say, no, 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 you had a deadline and now you're red, instead of moving it so it looks like it's green because they just keep moving it? There's some way to keep people from just changing the finish line.
I'm
Does that
laughing
make
because
sense?
that's a very valid scenario for us. And Marilyn, you just impressed me because you actually brought a problem scenario which is very relevant, right? So one of the things we do in biopharma or biotech is GMP analysis, good manufacturing practice analysis. And we have a quality section, as we call it, from control to SOPs to validations and deviations. And so, excuse me, we don't do the actual testing. We don't do the kappa. We don't do QA, QC. We don't do that. What we tell somebody who is doing it is something what you do is right. Or you're just doing it because somebody has told you to do it, right?
Yeah.
So how can you bring more change management thing? How can you bring more validation and revalidation thing in your process, that the process steps you're doing is really right or wrong? Because I mean, we dig into those, I call it heat mapping, and bring out a red, yellow, green and say, you know what? Though you're in a profitable business, your manufacturing is a cost center, helping out to become like taking the company in a profit. But here are the few areas you should improve upon. And we give you rankings. So when you run a report, you get rankings of your processes and say that the overall QC testing, it's good, but if you have more demand, or if you want to have a new, let's say a new product line coming in, you would not be able to manage it because you shift into much more of, let's say, CFR Part 11 electronic signature. And how do you shift there? What kind of FDA regulations you will follow? Or if you get audited, what kind of report you will publish? So yes, this is a very valid scenario. As we work with suppliers for J&J or others, we see that there is a best practice. Who am I to coach these companies? They are already making in billions and millions, right? So there are always a subtlety to bring out that reds. And bringing out a red in an organization is not easy. Change is not easy. So this tool, I like the way you said skipping steps or not, really helps you to connect the problem statement to the goal, to the causal, to the symptoms. And you have a complete visibility of where the issue is. And the way you would do it, there's another way you can, we do top down with this product. The other way you could also do, don't get me wrong, we sometimes do that too, I call services instead of product, is we just go tap into a very simplistic data set, very, very modular, very siloed, and tell that, okay, from this data set in the last 1 year of historian, here are our issues. You can actually do a small data analytics program and say that, and we can tell you that, okay, these are your issues, and by the way, it will explode if you don't take care in the next 5 years. I'm just making it up.
Right.
That's very bottoms up, taking one area, doing an analytics. That's one, we work on that too. Sometimes the product sale sometimes takes time, so we also do analytics services as one of the career paths we have. But we always take that bottoms up data analytics, and we do not want to skip steps. We come top down and say, hey, by the way, we do have a product. I will feed this data into us, and you will see the red, yellow, greens coming out. And you have now 2 outputs, one from this analytics project and one from the heat map. So the conversation goes at a different league because of the 2 ways of visibility. So no, this is a great question, because at the end, our job to relationship, client, prospect, vendor, anyone is, do not skip steps. If you skip steps, it will be abandoned.
Yeah.
So I don't know your exact situation. We can also talk offline, Marilyn, but
Okay.
your question is very, very valid. That how do we help an organization not to skip steps? I love the way you said it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Emmy, so back to you.
Okay, so there are no other questions? Nothing?
I have a question. So I understand that a client comes to you with some problems, some goals, and then through your platform, you help them understand their problem and then achieve implementation to address those problems, whatever they are. When they work with you, are they purchasing the platform itself and the people, and then you help them use the tool, and then they have that tool for, I don't know, whatever length of time? Or are you coming back every time there's a new problem to help them learn to apply that tool?
Very good question again. So we have two models of go-to-market. One is we go as a solution company. We have the product, engineers, and subject matter experts. We have a project by project quote. We also go and sell licenses of the platform. And the licensing selling of the platform has sub-tiers. If it's flat, completely not configured, one price. If it's completely configured for a vertical, another price. If it's completely configured and you need support from our engineers, another price. If it's completely configured, support from engineers, and you want all the patches coming out, another price. Yeah, so we have two go-to-market. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that when you're coming in on the solution side, clients are interested in purchasing a license afterward?
Wow. I mean, what's your background?
Oh, I'm a student in data analytics right now. My background is an educator. I teach English.
I'm very impressed. Absolutely, yes. So a customer, we being not such a big brand or not a brand at all, I think the customer loves to see the outcome, a product-led outcome with our services on top of it, and then say, okay, and you know what? I need 10 seats. You guys leave. I will call you if I need help. That's how mostly is happening in our life. So because we don't, once we are known, I think our licensing volume will go up, the second option. But we are mostly getting traction on the how exactly you articulated, right? That we go as a program, and then generally the client says, okay, I'm going to keep back the software for maybe 10 seats, and I'll pay you X grand every month. Yeah. That's happening. The advantage of the tool is you can do multiple strategies by multiple logins of the multiple leaders at the same time. A supply chain leader, a sustainability leader, a data leader can all come in and do simulations and analytics on our platform. So that multiple login not only reduces the time for digital transformation, it also gives a complete non-silo visibility. So the CXO is saying, I was spending 7 million for same program with 3 groups. Now I will pay this licensing fee to this new kids in town and I have more visibility. So yeah, so that's the advantage of bringing the product with us. And also the industry is moving in that productization and democratization of strategy. I don't think next 10 years we would see a lot of these consultants traveling up in the air and landing and delivering. I mean, I think I say that in a very rude way. I think COVID came at the right time for the consulting world also, where the organizations saw that not every time I need a consultant on site. So that kind of selfishly helped us on the go-to-market. That, hey, you could be empowered before McKinsey comes in. or let them come in. You should be more empowered. Or McKinsey, you should take my platform and you should reduce your time to customer. So from 5 million, you can charge 2 million. So all the ways of going to market, from a sell to, sell with, we have thought through and see so that we are not cannibalizing anyone else. So yeah, great question.
This was great. If you have any other questions, please contact the speaker. I think we're ready for the next. Thank you very much, Andy,
Thank you,
for
Andy.
Thank you.
there was a lot there. There was a lot there.
Yes,
I have to watch the tape after. It's
and
very
Marilyn,
deep.
Victoria, anyone. I mean, Ryan, everyone.
Yes,
So just
yes,
write to me, and I would love to pick up.
yes,
And I live.
definitely.
I'm local. If you guys are local, we can grab a. We're all getting vaccinated, so we can grab a coffee.
I know. Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much.
Have a good
Yes.
Yeah.